The man you're looking at right now is Michel Faro do Prado, a 45-year-old Brazilian dad and loving husband with the goal to look as sinister as possible. Nowadays, tattoos and body modifications are growing in popularity and are widely accepted to society. But at what point do these body modifications just go too far? Well, by the looks at him here, most people will say what he did to himself is a bit more on the extreme side and is kind of hard to look at. Some people mistake him as the Black Alien, you know, the guy that transformed himself into, well, an alien. We talked about the Black Alien on the channel before, but yeah, they're twinning. Now, many people speculate that Michel actually copied the Black Alien in terms of modifications. Now, even though both of them are on the more extreme side of body modifications, from looking at both of them, it looks like Michel is further along in his transformation journey. Now, with that said, you might be asking yourself, what drove someone to make such a drastic transformation to their body, right? Well, today we're going to be talking all about Michel's story on how he transformed himself into the human Satan. And this story is just insane, so buckle up. From as long as Michel can remember, he always had an obsession with body art and modifications. But it wasn't until he met his wife to where this obsession started to take over. Most of all of the procedures that we were going to be getting into were done by trained professionals. However, he wanted to be a canvas for his wife that specializes in body modifications, which explains why his transformation process sped up after meeting his wife. First, Michel has 95% of his body tattooed, with the majority of the ink being blackout. For you that may not know, blackout tattoos are a style of tattooing where somebody completely blacks out a portion of their body. But in this case for Michel, it's pretty much his whole body. Anyway, you would think this alone would be enough of a transformation, right? Well, not for Michel. Now this right here is when he started taking his modifications onto a whole nother level. One of the most dangerous procedures that someone can go through is the tattooing of the eyeball. There's a risk of going blind, and once you get it done, you're stuck like that pretty much for life. But of course, Michel went and got his eyeball tattooed, blacking it out with ink, and for him, luckily, the procedure went fine. Now, the procedure of getting an eyeball tattoo is a little bit different from getting an actual tattoo on your skin. They use a small syringe to inject ink into the eye. It's not really like a machine, like a traditional tattoo, which I can only imagine what that even feels like, and realistically, it's not worth the risk. It's just pure insanity. And speaking of insane, after Michel got that, he then went and got his tongue split, a bunch of dermal implants throughout his face and body, along with horns that give him a devilish, sinister look that he's been looking for all along. Alright, now let's get into the more extreme stuff. I've been kind of trying to ease you in because this is pretty extreme stuff, but it gets even crazier. Now, I'm sure you watching right now, just like everyone else on the planet, would want perfectly straight white teeth. But if you want to go for the whole sinister look like Michel is going for, well, you can't have that. So what do you think he ended up going to do? Well, he went to the dentist and asked them to shave down all of his teeth to be more pointed. Are dentists even allowed to do that? Anyway, if that wasn't enough, he then took it a step further and got metal implants in his teeth and added tusks to them. Yeah, like elephant tusks. And this procedure right here cost them a whopping $1,000. Now, I thought that these tusk and metal teeth were able to be removed, but from the pictures and research that I did for this video, it seems like they're permanently in his mouth. And my question is, how does this guy eat? Now, you might be thinking, why would anybody get any of these procedures done? But these next ones we're getting into are my personal, like, what are you thinking? These are absolute insanity. One of the main procedures that he's gotten done that personally freaks me out is the removal of his ears. Now, we talked about ear removal in the other Black Alien Project video, and weirdly enough, this procedure is becoming a lot more trendy. Don't ask me why. Now, I am someone that believes that a person should be able to do whatever they want to their body to make them happy. But I just can't grasp how someone could wake up one day and say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to remove my ears. And speaking of removing parts of his body, this next modification he got done, only 3 people in the world has got this procedure done. 3 people out of 8 billion. Put that into perspective. This just goes to show how crazy this one is. Oh yeah, he got his nose removed. Yep. Now, I'd assume, just like the Black Alien stated in an interview, the removal of his nose can cause some health problems. But again, when it comes to Michel, nothing will stop him from achieving the look that he wants. Alright, so if that wasn't enough for you, he did crazier stuff. Bring it in. After getting his nose removed, Michel stated that he loved the fact that he was missing body parts because it made him look so different from everybody else. So then, he ended up going to get his ring finger removed. From doing research on this video, I don't know what's more extreme, the removal of his nose, ears, or now the finger. Now, I know you might be thinking, who in their right mind would purposely get their fingers removed? Because this is pretty much crippling themselves. Well, the Black Alien actually did as well. And in that video, I stated that I feel like it's pretty disrespectful. Like I mentioned, I'm all about people going and doing things to their body that makes them happy, but there are people out there missing limbs that would do anything to get them back. This procedure that Michel got right here is pretty much crippling herself, and to me, I think it's a little disrespectful. And I would love to know what you think. But anyway, I'm sure the question has passed through your mind while we were talking about all this stuff is that, is Michel affected in any type of way from any of these transformations? Well, to answer your question, he did go through some complications with one of his surgeries. In March of 2021, Michel went through liposuction, removing excess skin on his body as well as getting his belly button removed. Now, the first operation went well and he recovered perfectly fine. But after a while, he had to go back and get surgery, and this is where it didn't end up so well. His wife stated after a few days of his second surgery, the stitches began to open up and he believed it to be infected. Michel stated that in the beginning, it was super painful and it was extremely hard for him to walk. Since then, there hasn't really been that many updates about this situation, other than he used his social media following to help pay for some of the medical bills. Other than this, Michel said that there was no other complications as of right now. Michel stated after all of his procedures that he has a good resistance to pain, and he stated, "I don't think there is something that painful. I suffer a lot more from the post procedures more than I did during them. If I have to feel pain to achieve what I want, for sure I will face it." Now, after going over all these procedures, you might be thinking, what made him want to become the human Satan he is now? Well, it's actually simple. It was for the love of his wife. He stated in an interview that since his wife specializes in body modifications, that he wanted to be his wife's masterpiece, and he is not going to stop anytime soon on transforming his body. Now, if that isn't true love, I don't know what is. And when it comes to people comparing him to the Black Alien, Michel has also stated that he has no interest in copying the Black Alien, and that they are actually friends, and he is just simply going down his own path to achieve the look that he always dreamed about. Now, I know this whole story is complete insanity, but I would love to know what your thoughts are about this whole thing, and how much further do you think this man is going to go to achieve the look he wants? Leave a comment below. And if you think this story is crazy, be sure to check out this video right here on how tattoos ruin this boy's life. Subscribe, and I'll see you over there.